For 5 years, I shouldered the financial burdens of my parents, while my sister, Emily, remained entirely passive. When I requested their assistance in caring for my daughter for just one night, their response was blunt: "We're not your employees." That night, I made a decision, and a few days later, my parents appeared at my doorstep, weeping. My name is Alex, and I never imagined severing ties with my own parents. Yet, after everything I'd endured, I have no regrets. For 5 years, I covered their expenses: rent, utilities, groceries, anything they needed. They always had an excuse. My father claimed back problems prevented him from working, while my mother insisted on her age as a barrier to employment, despite being in her early 50s. Emily, a golden child, could wreck cars, accumulate debt, and drop out of school. Yet my parents defended her as if she were perfect. "She'll figure things out," my mother would say, eventually. Meanwhile, I had to manage my own life. Since turning 18, I'd worked tirelessly to achieve my current standing. Late nights, overtime, stress, and sacrifices. The list of hardships was endless. My parents had transformed me into their personal ATM. Initially, it was minor: a helping hand with rent, a loan for a bill. Eventually, this evolved into a fixed allowance, with the expectation becoming ever clearer. They no longer even asked. They simply expected me to pay. "Family helps family," my mother would say when I hesitated. "You're doing so well, dear. It's not as if you can't afford it." For years, I allowed myself to believe that they needed me, that I was doing the right thing, that perhaps one day they'd express gratitude. But that gratitude never arrived. Instead, a feeling festered, the sense that my efforts were viewed as an obligation, a simple duty. My breaking point wasn't a singular event, but the accumulation of small disappointments, each chipping away at me. The final straw arrived when I was preparing for a crucial work event, one I couldn't miss. My wife, Sarah, needed to travel on business last minute. We needed just one night of assistance, so I asked my parents to watch my daughter. They laughed. "Alex, we're not your employees," my mother retorted. "We've already raised our children. It's not our job to care for yours." I can't recall what I said in response. All I remember is hanging up the phone and staring at the wall, feeling utterly foolish. 5 years of footing the bill, ensuring their comfort and ease, and in the only instance I asked for something in return, they dismissed me. My treatment felt like complete disregard. I yearned to declare it all over, but the situation escalated, growing infinitely worse. I sat for a protracted period, phone in hand, replaying the conversation in my mind. Perhaps I misconstrued her words. Perhaps she intended something different. Yet deep down, I knew the truth. Years of exploitation, weak apologies, Emily portrayed as a saint while I was merely a walking ATM. Everything fell into place. Still, I needed to confront them face to face. The drive was short, yet my mind raced. I was at a loss for words. I wasn't prone to shouting or brawling, but a profound, long-suppressed feeling welled up inside me. My hands trembled as I parked outside their house. I took a deep breath, exited the car, and knocked on the door. No response. I knocked again, this time with more force. Voices emanated from within. The door creaked open, revealing my father, looking surprised at my unexpected appearance. "Alex," he said, as if I were a stranger. I didn't waste time on pleasantries. I needed affirmation. "I need to confirm what Mom said. You can't look after my daughter for a night. You're not my employees," I stated, entering the house without ceremony. My mother sat on the sofa, exhibiting a complete lack of concern. Her demeanor was more irritated than anything else. "Alex, why are you making such a fuss over such a trivial matter?" she countered before I could respond. A faint noise, a child's whisper, a giggle, drifted from another room. I glanced down the hallway and saw Emily's children. My parents were caring for them. My heart plummeted. My mother, observing my expression, attempted a quick deflection. "Alex, dear, this is different. It's different." My voice, strangely calm, dripped with disbelief. "Explain how this is different." My father, a man lacking boldness, sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Your sister had a terrible headache, and she simply needed some rest." "A headache," I repeated, staring blankly. "So, you abandon everything to care for her children. But when I, who has paid your bills for years, request you look after my daughter for a single night, suddenly you've already raised your own children." My mother rolled her eyes, as if I were overreacting. "Alex, it's not quite like that. Emily gets everything on a silver platter," I retorted. "And I'm the one footing the bill for you all?" My mother's face hardened. That's not fair. We appreciate everything you do. A dry, humorless chuckle escaped my lips. Seriously? Why is there no attempt at compromise? Suddenly, Emily appeared at the end of the hallway, rubbing her eyes as if awakening from a nap. What's all this commotion? She grumbled, noticing me. You're actually creating a scene? I faced her, my jaw clenched. You're unbelievable. She crossed her arms, a taunting smile playing on her lips. You think paying the bills makes you a saint? Perhaps if you weren't so uptight, Mom and Dad wouldn't have to pick favorites. A profound clarity washed over me. My entire life had been a pursuit of love and respect from people who never intended to grant it. In that room, observing Emily's children being cared for while they laughed at me, I finally understood. I was done. Slowly, I exhaled, looked at my parents, and said softly, I understand. Turning away, I left without slamming the door, without shouting, without wasting another minute on them. As I drove home, my phone buzzed. First my mother, then my father, then Emily. I didn't answer. This was just the beginning. I ignored every call, letting them stew. No more manipulation. Upon arriving home, Sarah had returned from her trip. Our daughter nestled in her arms. She immediately noticed something was amiss. What happened? She asked softly. I sat beside her, running a hand through my hair. They were looking after Emily's children, I recounted. Sarah stiffened. Are you kidding me? She exclaimed, shaking her head. No, I said. She had a headache, so... Of course, they dropped everything to help her, Sarah responded. But when I asked for just one night, a single night, they laughed at me. She sighed, shaking her head in disbelief. Alex, I know this hurts, but maybe this is a good thing. Now you truly know. She was right. Now, I knew. It wasn't just that I was the second choice, I was Plan B, the source of funds that kept everyone afloat. Seeing this with such clarity, I wouldn't remain in that role. The next morning, I made my decision. First, I contacted the bank. I canceled all of the automatic payments in their names. Rent, utilities, even the car insurance. Next, I sent a brief message to my parents. You're on your own now. I didn't explain myself. I didn't argue. I simply sent the message and blocked their number. Within an hour, chaos erupted. Sarah and I were enjoying breakfast when my work email pinged, followed by Sarah's work phone. I blocked their contacts, but they persisted. I sighed and opened my mother's email. It was exactly as I expected. Alex, I don't understand what's gotten into you, but this is ridiculous. Family helps each other. You can't just cut us off like this. We have bills to pay. Your father isn't well. Your sister is going through a tough time. I can't believe you would be so selfish after everything we've done for you. I let out a dismissive laugh. After everything they did for me? What? They brought me into this world, and that's all? Before I could process that, Sarah's phone rang again. She glanced at the screen and grimaced. It's Emily. Let it go to voicemail, I muttered. But then a message arrived. Sarah read it aloud to me. So, you're really taking this seriously? You're ruining Mom and Dad's lives just because you didn't get what you wanted for one night? Grow up, Alex. My jaw tightened. Emily would twist things like this, painting me as the villain. I stood up and began pacing the kitchen. Let them freak out. Let them scream. I don't care. Sarah looked at me with a proud little smile. Good. They don't deserve another second of your energy. For the first time in years, I felt a sense of freedom. The profound drama wasn't over. 3 days later, a knock echoed at my door. Peering through the peephole, I nearly laughed. My parents stood there, weeping. My mother, a torrent of tears, my father, etched with a mixture of exhaustion and irritation, his temples rubbing with his fingers. A flicker of pity touched me, but then a flood of memories surged. The countless times they'd used me, the mounting debts I'd shouldered, the sacrifices I'd made, all while Emily, doing virtually nothing, was treated like royalty. I remembered my mother's dismissive laughter when I'd asked them to care for my child, as if I were a fool. My chest burned. Taking a deep breath, I unlocked and opened the door. The instant my mother saw me, she began, Alex, thank goodness. We were trying to reach you. I folded my arms, leaning against the doorframe. You were trying to reach me? I thought we had this conversation already. We need to talk, my father countered, with a palpable mixture of exhaustion and frustration. We need to talk, I retorted, because I've already said everything I needed to. My mother reached for her chest, as if I'd plunged a knife into her. How could you be so cruel? We're family. A dry laugh escaped me. Family? Funny. Because when I needed you, when I asked for just one night, you laughed in my face. But when Emily had a headache, you rolled out the red carpet for her. My mother's face contorted in a grimace. This isn't fair. It's not fair. My voice rose. It's not fair that I've covered your expenses for 5 years while Emily hasn't lifted a finger. It's not fair that I've gone above and beyond to help you, yet I'm treated like an afterthought while she's the golden child. You can cry all you want, but now I see the truth. My father sighed heavily, shaking his head. Alex, we value everything you do. Another ironic laugh escaped me. Value? You value my money. There's a vast difference. They fell silent. My mother's face crumpled, and tears welled up again. We didn't imagine you'd take it this far, she admitted, dabbing at her eyes. You've always been so responsible, so good to us. Thought you'd calm down and fix everything. I gritted my teeth. Fix what, Mom? The fact that you used me, manipulated me to pay for everything while Emily lived a life of ease. And when I ask for something in return, I'm called selfish? My mother sniffled. We're not using you. We just depend on you a little too much. I shook my head. You exploited me, made me believe it was my obligation to care for you. But it isn't. You're adults. If you can't afford your own expenses, that's no longer my problem. My father, always trying to appease, rubbed his face, frustrated. Okay, I understand. We messed up. We messed up. A bitter laugh escaped me. Messed up? Is that how you forget to send a birthday card? This isn't a mistake. It's years of manipulation. I realize now the only reason you treat me well is because I'm useful. My mother shook her head, desperation etched on her face. This isn't true. We love you. No, I retorted. You don't love what I do for you. It's profoundly different. Silence descended, a first in my memory. They seemed speechless, but, as usual, my mother quickly shifted tactics. Tears gave way to anger, and once more, I was the villain. You're being so cruel, Alex, my mother's voice boomed. What are you doing to our family? We're struggling to survive, drowning in debt. Instead of helping your own blood, you're making a fuss over a nanny. My jaw tightened. No, I countered. I'm simply defending myself. You're being melodramatic. You're cutting me off for no reason. A chilling calm washed over me. No reason, I repeated, stepping forward and lowering my voice. For 5 years, I've shouldered the cost of this roof over your heads while Emily did nothing. You've drained me financially and emotionally. And when I asked for help, you laughed at me, called me selfish. Now that I've had enough of being your ATM, you're crying at my door. She averted her gaze, sniffling. My father cleared his throat, unsure of what to do. I felt a profound certainty solidify within me. That's exactly what I thought. In that moment, I understood. There was no turning back. My mother exhaled a heavy sigh, her venomous tone returning. Fine, she said, her voice bitter. If that's how you want it, but don't come crawling back when you realize how much you need us. A dry laugh escaped my lips. I need you for what? Emotional abuse? Blackmail? Bills I never signed? I'm out. My father sighed, running a hand through his hair. Come on, Alex. Let's not burn bridges. We just need a little help. I turned, pointing to their car parked in my garage. Then why don't you ask Emily for help? Ah, right. She never helped, did she? Silence again. They knew I was right. I took a deep breath, trying to calm my racing heart. Enough. This time I'm serious. No more money, no more favors. You fend for yourselves, just like I've done my whole life. My mother opened her mouth to argue, but I was already inside, slamming the door behind me. I leaned against it, my heart pounding, breathing raggedly. I stood there for a few moments, listening to the hushed whispers, my mother's sniffling, and my father's sighs emanating from the other side. After a while, I heard footsteps receding. Peeking through the window, I saw them arguing near the car, until finally, they got in and drove away. I stood there, absorbing everything. For the first time, I had set a boundary, a true boundary. It was incredible, but I felt the issue wasn't over. The next morning, my phone buzzed relentlessly. Initially, I thought it was work notifications, but upon unlocking my screen, I saw a deluge of messages, texts, missed calls, and even Facebook posts. My stomach dropped. I opened the first message from my cousin, Janina. Alex, did you see what your mother posted? My heart pounded as I clicked on the link. I landed on my mother's Facebook page, and as I began to read, my fists clenched in anger. It's hard to say this, but sometimes the people, my own daughter, the one I raised, nurtured, clothed, and unconditionally loved, has turned her back on us. She abandoned us at our most vulnerable point, after everything we'd done for her. I never imagined a day when my own child would treat me like a burden, as though I were disposable trash. But money, it seems, alters people. Now, she leaves us here, suffering, knowing we have no one else. If only her heart matched the size of her bank account. I stared at the screen, my breath catching in my throat. The comments were even worse. How could a child not appreciate their parents after all the sacrifices, people wrote. She should be ashamed. The comments echoed through my social media feed like a chorus of judgment. Life's burdens, they seemed to say, can wait. My face burned with shame as I scrolled through the page. My daughter had twisted the narrative, portraying herself as the victim, abandoned by a heartless child. Of course, my Facebook friends, mostly acquaintances from church and distant relatives, believed her fabricated story. It was then I saw Emily's comment. I'd avoided voicing my opinion before, but I'd always known she was self-centered. Mom and Dad had given her everything, and look how she repaid them. That repulsed me. It was the last straw. I wasn't just annoyed, I was outraged. I grabbed my phone and called my mother. She answered almost immediately, as if waiting for my call. "So now you want to talk to me?" she said, mimicking a sweet, innocent voice. "Are you kidding me?" I retorted. "What garbage is that post on Facebook, Mom? You lied to everyone, portraying me as a heartless monster." She sighed dramatically. "I don't know what you're talking about, dear. I just expressed my feelings." "You lied!" I gritted my teeth. "You made it seem like I abandoned you without reason, when in fact you've exploited me for years." She retorted, her voice laced with venom. "I don't recall putting a gun to your head to help your parents. You did it because you wanted to. But it seems money goes to one's head, doesn't it? I should have known you'd end up like this." I finally found my voice, the courage to defend myself. Instead of acknowledging her wrongdoing, she ran to Facebook to portray herself as the victim. "But I'm the victim." Her voice trembled, as if she were about to cry on purpose. "My father and I are struggling, while you live comfortably, thinking it's normal to abandon us." She sniffled theatrically. It's hard to believe my own daughter could be so cold. I clenched my jaw, squeezing the phone until my fingers ached. "You're struggling? Why were you taking care of Emily's children yesterday? She can't manage her own children, yet she lives comfortably, while I'm pressured to support you." There was a pause, then my mother scoffed. "Emily's different. She doesn't have the same financial resources as you. Besides, she hasn't turned her back on her family like you did." That was the final straw. I took a deep breath, trying to remain calm. "Mom, say what you want, but I hope you understand that with this, you've just buried any chance of me helping you again." "Oh, my darling," she changed her tone abruptly, becoming sweet and honeyed. "You know I love you, don't you?" I hung up, a humorless laugh. "Mom, you crave control, and now you've lost it." I hung up on her, staring at my phone, my blood still simmering. Notifications exploded. Messages from relatives, acquaintances, even former schoolmates, demanding to know what was happening. An idea sparked. If Mom wanted to play dirty, I could play smarter. I took a deep breath, opened Facebook, and started typing. No vicious attacks, no insults. I simply laid out the facts. Years of covering their expenses while my sister contributed nothing. Their refusal to help me during a crisis, followed by their efforts to deny their responsibility towards me. I published and waited. The response was immediate. My inbox flooded with messages, outrage, shock from relatives who claimed no prior knowledge of the behind-the-scenes dealings, and attempts at neutrality, insisting on family support regardless. But overall, the tide turned against my parents. Then, Emily appeared in the comments. "Wow, you're exposing our parents? Where's the family now?" Funny how she talks about family when she's done nothing but drain resources and leave me to carry the entire load. I didn't reply. It wasn't necessary. Others joined in, pointing out the favoritism towards Clara, the hypocrisy. Next came messages from my parents. Mom's message. "How dare you do this to us? Do you have any idea how humiliated we are? Delete this post. This isn't how families treat each other." Suddenly, family mattered? Suddenly, respect and loyalty were the key words after years of using me as an ATM, turning their backs when I asked for the smallest assistance. I didn't reply. I blocked them. My father, my mother, and Emily. And just like that, the weight lifted from my shoulders. No guilt, no obligation, no more falling prey to manipulations that had convinced me love could be bought. I wasn't expecting to feel sadness, perhaps even regret. But as I sat in my home, holding my daughter close. A sense of peace washed over me. The first in my life. I was free.